Hello, yogis. Today's class is a yin yoga class with a focus on stress relief. So, in yin yoga, we're holding the postures for a few minutes. So, we won't be doing that many postures today. This is a great way to relax and really get into your muscle and your fascia and just restore your body. So, for this class, if you have a block, you can have one block, but you don't need it. We're going to start in our child's pose, extended child's pose. Bring your knees wide, big toes touching, and then just rest your forehead on the ground. Just start to notice your breath. Tune into your body and notice any areas where you feel tension or discomfort. See if you can send the breath to these areas. And throughout this practice, as we hold these postures for an extended period of time, just see if you can come back to the breath. If the mind begins to wander, bring the focus back to the breath. Inhale that positive, beautiful, loving energy. Exhale what no longer serves you. Inhale, bring your gaze forward. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back. Lower all the way down onto your belly. Inhale, come into Sphinx pose. Stack your shoulders directly over your elbows. Your feet are just wider than your hips. And your neck is in a nice neutral line. Broaden through your collarbones. If you want to make this posture a little more restorative, or if you have a tight upper back, you can move the elbows out just slightly. Bring your block to the highest setting in front of you and release your head down toward the block. It's just an option. You can always stick with the first variation if you'd like. Imagine a green crescent moon extending from your Anahata chakra, your heart center. Imagine it expanding from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. And then imagine it extending all the way out so that this beautiful light fills the entire room. And just tap into the sensation of love that it brings. If the mind has started to wander, bring yourself back to the present moment. Inhale, bring your gaze forward. If you have a block, you can set it off to the side. Exhale, press back up into your tabletop pose. Inhale. Exhale, come into swan. Bring your right heel outside your left hip. Extend the left leg straight back behind you. Inhale. Exhale, come to a sleeping swan. Either rest your elbows down on your mat or reach your arms out and bring your forehead all the way to the ground. If you need more support underneath your right hip, you can always bring the block under the hip. Another variation is to take this position on your back, crossing your right leg over your left, flexing through your right and your left foot, and hug your left knee into your chest. Otherwise, just stick with the regular sleeping swan variation. Yin yoga is often one of the more difficult variations of yoga because it forces us to really tune into our bodies and be present. Inhale, bring your gaze forward. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back. Come into a tabletop position. Just gently rock your hips from side to side before we switch sides. Come into your swan pose on the left side. Bring your left heel outside your right hip. Extend your right leg straight back behind you. Inhale, exhale, sleeping swan. Bring your elbows down or your forehead all the way to the ground. Again, you can always have a block underneath your left hip if you need the support, or if your hips just aren't feeling this, you can take this on your back by crossing your left leg over the right, flex through your left foot, hug the right knee in toward the chest, and just clasp your fingertips behind your right hamstring. No matter what variation you're taking, just tune back into your breath. Just notice here what the most challenging part of holding these postures is for you. Is it the physical aspect, the mental aspect, or the emotional aspect? Where does this tell you that you need to do work in your life? And how can this yin yoga practice be taken off the mat and into your everyday activities? Inhale, bring your gaze forward. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back. Come into your tabletop. Gently sway from side to side. And then we'll come into our square pose. You may want your block for this pose. Begin with the left foot toward the front of your mat. And you'll cross the right foot on top of the left knee. So your right knee is directly over your left ankle. And if you gaze down, you should still be able to see a triangle between your thighs. And your right knee might be way up here. That's okay. You can just place a block underneath. If this is way too much for you, you can simply cross that right leg out in front of you, slightly in front of the left. So if you're in your square pose, flex through both feet. Stack the shins on top of each other. Inhale and exhale, make your way forward. Perhaps your fingertips are just out in front of you, or maybe you can bring your elbows down to the ground. Relax through your head and neck. What do you find that you're carrying around that no longer serves you? With each exhale, let it go. It can be anything from emotions of anger and hatred to judgments of yourself. Anything that's not serving you, let it go. If it doesn't contribute to your happiness, we don't need it. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back. Switch sides. The left shin is on top this time. Flex through your left and your right foot. Gaze down. You should see a nice triangle between the thighs. You can always prop the left leg with a block. That left knee is directly over the right ankle. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Again, you can always take that other variation with the left leg just in front of the right. Find stillness here. Where can you soften in this intense posture? Can you send your breath to the hips and the back? Be fully present in your body and fully aware of your surroundings. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back. Release the pose. And we'll come into a variation of hero's pose. So if you have a block, you can take your block back and bring your knees together. Sit your hips back on your block. And then bring your heels onto either side of your thighs. Just sit up nice and tall for a few breaths. Internally rotating your thighs. And then we talk about presence. I think that's one of the most important things that our yoga practice can teach us It's so easy in modern society to be distracted by technology, by the television, your phone, anything. And a lot of times, this distracts us from being truly present with ourselves and those we love. So I challenge you to take this mindful practice of presence off the mat and out into your life. Inhale, exhale. From here, we'll take legs up the wall pose. You can either just move towards your wall and bring your sit bones to the wall and legs straight up. Or if you don't have a wall, you can come down onto your back and lift your legs straight up. If you want to sit up on the block, you can by just bringing the block underneath the bum and lifting your legs up toward the sky. And if you like, you can stay here for Shavasana, or if you want to take traditional Shavasana, slowly bend your knees, scooch out away from the wall if you're at the wall. If you're using your block under your hips, just lift the hips up, releasing the block. Maybe take a quick rock from side to side. And then find your way into Shavasana, extending one leg and then the other, turning one palm to the sky and then the other. Allow your body to be fully supported by the earth. And just take a few moments here to fully absorb your practice. If you have the time, I encourage you to stay here another 5 to 10 minutes. But if you're ready to reawaken the body, keeping your eyes closed, just slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Perhaps reaching your arms up and pointing your toes for a full body stretch. Gently hug your knees into your chest. Maybe just rock from side to side, massaging out your lower back. Gently roll onto either side in the fetal position, using your arm as a pillow. And take your time, there's no rush. Gently just press your way back to a comfortable position at the top of your mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.